All right. So just wanted to start off today's call. Basically, today is going to be kind of a shorter one, but wanted to kind of pack it with just quality info there. Since I know, a lot of you are pushing, some of you maybe aren't, but I wanted to kind of have this call be like keys to wrapping up your push and finishing strong, pretty much. So just wanted to kind of dive into a few tips with that. Um, Quick backtrack though, this obviously assumes that you set it up the right way, and one of those components to setting up your push the right way is running some sort of a sale. So most CSPs watching this run their spring sale during May. So if you're going down that track, or you are, I would recommend doing your sale in May, because you get to kind of take it, have it go towards the push, and you kind of, if it helps you win prizes, you're kind of like getting paid extra on what you're making, right? So with that in mind, so with your sale, some keys at this point in the game, since this is the last, well, now it's under a week, what, 6 days or whatever left of the push. So what's going to be key at this point is the follow up. So when you run a sale, there's always like an initial rush of orders in the beginning. Like that first week is like, you get a steady amount, but then there's people throughout there that you'll quote, or they'll show interest in something, or they'll respond, but for whatever reason, you haven't sold to them, or haven't communicated with them again. So this is a time where you want to make those follow-up calls, texts, emails, whatever that might be. So like I said, go through your messages, go through your notes, see anybody who you quoted. So any of those quotes you got hanging out there, anyone who showed any sort of interest. That's what I did yesterday and today. Basically, um, I just went through because I use Conveyor for texting. Conveyor, texting based, both platforms are used to send um, like like multiple messages at the same time, right, for different people. So I just went through, looked at all the people who I had some sort of interaction with, and just sent just a super simple, easy follow up message. I just said, hey blank, just want to check in and see what you're thinking, question mark, with the little smiley face. That's all. It doesn't have to be complicated. And then people respond back. They tell you, oh yeah, I got to look at this, or oh, actually I want 4 table knives, or I had a lady who says, oh, I want 8 steak knives and a carving knife. So um, just basically re igniting that fire, and then then close those. The goal is to either get a yes, or so the goal is to either get the order closed or get a no, right? You don't want to have just stuff lingering out there. You want to get confirmation on something. And then after you get like that layer done, and if you still have time, then you want to go, like if you sent an email through Vast Action, you can see all the people who clicked on your email. So then you want to go through, and you can start calling, if you haven't already, call the clicks from your email. Obviously don't tell them like, hey, I saw you clicked on my email, because then like it gets a little weird. But just say, hey, I don't know if you saw, but I'm running a sale promotion. I just wanted to reach out, see if you had any interest in anything. If not, no worries, but just wanted to check in on you, something along those lines, to follow up with those people. So that would be like my next thing. um, and then also anybody who reached out for like service. So if somebody responded like, hey, they needed sharpening, or anything like that, I would get those people scheduled as well, and then get them taken care of, whether that's for a service event or a service call. Reach out to them. And then my next point here is to remember to be upserving. So you always want to utilize upserving, even if it was like difficult to get to that first yes, right? Because now that's the hardest part, is getting the first yes. Now that they're already committed to buying, it's going to be a lot easier to get that next yes. Not everybody will go for it, but you still want to offer anyway, right? So like I'll give you an example. Or at the over the weekend, it was, I mean, it wasn't a big order or anything. It was just a few pieces, and like I had dropped down all the way from showing like an ultimate upgrade to like I think it was like one knife and two table knives, right? And because I had spent all that time, could have been easy to just on to the next person, but the show wasn't busy, so I'm gonna go for it, right? And I know there was like they had left off the boning knife, right? I'm like, hey, once I had it all, done, card in hand and everything. Hey, I'm like, hey, since you're now my customer, I do have special deal. Or first, I actually let me rephrase that. I said, hey, if you're gonna do one next, it would probably be this one, right? Like pointing to the boning knife. No, yeah, probably. I was like, hey, well, just so you know, since you're now my customer, I can actually give you my past customer special. I mean, can I entice you with it? They're like, "Yeah, sure." So tell you what, I'm just on my phone, show them on the calculator, "Hey, you're gonna do it. It was gonna be this, but da 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 da. Da. If you do it now, and I just bought one of the table knives, it'd only be that, right?" And I'm like, "You're still getting these three, or some. You're still getting it's like a salmon knife, the two table knives, and the boning knife. I'm buying you one of the table knives, and you can still split it out." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, let's do that." Right? And then, it's obviously, when everything's going well, right, it's easy to do it. But when when you had to work a little bit harder for that order, you still want to do it, is my point. So always remember to be upserving. And then you can utilize the fact that you're in a contest, right, when you're upserving. That shouldn't be like the main reason why, but it's like an extra, like you're stacking like reasons why to do it, right? So for instance, hey, you're getting da 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 da, the right knives to cut things. You get to help me out with my contest, right? And then, certain, and it just builds on things like that. So utilize upserving. Um, and then I'm sure, many of you may or may not know this, but the rules of upserving: always ask again, and offer until they say stop. Basically, I might be missing one of those, but those are the principles of it. So always ask again, and upserve until they tell you they're done. Right. So no matter how hard it was to get to that first yes or no. Cool. And then the next thing is going to be always have the discipline to um, start with the higher package, right? So it can be easy to fall into just taking orders instead of making orders, right? At any level, right? So and person comes up, or you're going through your pitch and like, all right, I'll take these two, right, or whatever, and it can be easy just to take those. It can be easy just to take those orders. What's up, Josh? But you're not there just to take orders. You're there to make orders. So you want to do everything you can to get them the best deal, right? So with past customers, right, you always want to be going for that ultimate upgrade. And I can, name a few instances over the week, or actually literally yesterday. It was a lady where she and I had to drive, quite a hike to get to her, and she, she was cool. She had already figured out like a couple of things that she wanted, and she had a few knives, so I was sharpening. She wanted to flip through the book, and she said, "Oh yeah, I got this, and this." And a lot of reps would just be like, "Okay, cool. Let me just write that up for you." I'm like, "No," I'm like, "I have, you got to have the discipline to still go through an upgrade approach." Especially, it's like if you already wrote down like 4 or 5 or 6, whatever. She had like 4, 5, 6 pieces on there. It's like, well, you're only 3 pieces away from an upgrade. Plus, you get the block. It's just going to be a better value for you. And then I had already like planted the seeds, and at one point she's like, "I don't really need another block." But then she pulled out the block that she had, and we just like it had like a, because it wasn't even a Cutco block. It was like another, like just some random block. and she had like made like these attachments on there. There's like a little like half of like a like almost like half a plastic bucket on the back that she was like putting stuff in there in a shears holster, and it just looked like crap, right? And I was like, in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, yeah, you're not gonna keep using this. So, um, and then it's like, went into the, still did my upgrade approach, and it's like, because I know like if you just look at, like, you got to think about it too. Like if people just look at the knives like on the brochure, they're not going to know all the stuff that we know that they're used for, right? If you just look at the salmon knife, you don't know it's good for melon. If you look at the description on the Hardy slicer, it doesn't do it as justice as how we'd explain it. And there's other examples of that too. So you're going to do a better job selling it than the brochure is going to sell it. So then I'm like, okay, yeah, for sure. There's just a few that I'm going to, go over with you because, probably going to get probably get some use out of them. And it's like, oh yeah, Santoku cheese knife. Oh yeah. And it's like, there's certain things where it's like, oh, she wanted this. Why don't we just get you two of these, right? And again, like I mentioned on a prior call, it doesn't matter what knives that they get. All that matters in an upgrade is 9 knives, the block, and then the table or steak knives, plus like the extra pair of shears. And then another tip with that is just being able to utilize your deal sheets the proper way. Like I've been doing this. Like in the last 7 days, I closed 3 Alti upgrades, right? And it's just you show that deal sheet, right? And you want, just like anything else, you start off with the higher number, right? And then it's like, hey, this is what it would normally be, right? And then for use, because da 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 da, this is what it'll be, right? The deal sheet provides legitimacy. And then if you do like something for them, then it's like, you know, it just like, for instance, one of the upgrades I closed on Monday, they did it with they did it without the block and without the steak knife. So it was just like it allowed me, because I thought I even thought I was like gonna kill myself on the CPO, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So like doing like taking those things out, right? And then giving the deal, giving like a little bit of an extra deal allowed me to, just prop up all this value, right? Which is great for you, for the customer, and for your pocket, right? And even better, like if a customer buys something today, they are gonna, even if you sell it at full, even if you sold it for a slight premium, they're gonna save money than if they bought it 5 years from now, right? Because when I started in 2017, the homemaker was 12.12. Today it's 14.19. So if you bought a homemaker from me in 2017 without getting a single discount, you'd be up money. You'd be up 200 bucks if you went to go flip it. Right. So you just got to have that conviction. Another tip I want to add in there is to utilize. I mean, this is something that we know, but it's always a good reminder is to utilize your on hand product. Right. And the way you utilize it, it's not just, oh, at the end, like, here's, I have something for you. No, it's like you want them to know that when you're closing, you want to stack up all that value, right? So it's like after I dropped the price, right? I was like, oh, by the way, what you're getting is da 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 da, da, go through all that stuff. And it's like, oh, and by the way, you know, you hold up, say you do your gadgets, you hold up your gadgets when they pick two, right? You put those two on the table and you're putting it all out there, stacking up the cutting boards, putting the gadgets out there. You got all the knives. It looks like a bunch of stuff, and it's just like how can you say no to looking at all that stuff, right? So you just want to make it as enticing as possible. My next point here is piggybacking. So this is something that I literally, like, no joke, just did right before this call started. So when you're letting your clients go, this is something that I learned from Luke Mills. There's like a whole call on it that I just literally watched recently. But basically, what that is once you close the deal, you let your clients know, hey, just so you know, um, your account's going to be open now for the next 30 to 60 days. So if there's something that you need, you know, so there's something that you need, something breaks, you just want to get new pots and pans, whatever it is. If you want to add that on, we can actually give you the same, uh, same percentage discount on that stuff to add it, right? And I literally just had a guy call me right before this. He just got his order and he was like, "Oh, I got this. Yeah, actually, I was wondering how much, can I add on that boning knife?" I'm like, "You sure can." And then he's like, and he was asking me about the salmon knife. He was like, "Which one did you say was good for the melons and stuff like that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's actually the salmon knife. That one's good for like any type of fish, tender meats, watermelon, cantaloupe, da 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 da." So, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Would it be any cheaper if I added that one too?" I was like, "Yeah, tell you what, since since you literally just bought from me last week, if you want to add those two, I can either give you another gadget with it, or I can give you like a smaller knife, like a paring knife, right?" He's like, "Oh, that's sweet. Let's do that." And just boom, added on another knife, right? Um, and I've been telling I need to get I haven't told everybody since it's new, but I need to make it a habit to tell every single customer, hey, just so you know, if you want to add on anything else, give you the same percentage deal to add anything on in the future. Um, and that will pay dividends over the year as well. But those are kind of my rapid fire points. Like I said, I wanted this to be a quick call just to give you a few tips to help you crush the push. And then, of course, have a great attitude, believe in yourself. Miracles happen if you believe in them, right? And no matter what you're going for, whether that's a big or small goal, or if it's just, have some growth over last year, you can do it. Just finish out strong. You can see the finish line. Um, and then I just wanted to, open it up for any questions on anything that I covered so far, or if anyone has anything, that they learned that they want to um, add from what I just said.
All good here. Thanks, Matt.
Cool, cool. Sweet. Well, thanks for being on, y'all. Good to see you, Skylar. Good to see you, Josh. We'll be seeing a lot of you again this weekend, Josh. So love it, love it. Here, I'll stop the recording too.